My name is Porter Thorndike. I'm the Director of Sales and Strategy at Information Builders. I'm going to take you through a demonstration of our unified data and analytics platform. And our greatest differentiator is scale. And in the demonstration, you're going to see all the different ways that we scale. We scale to more users, like 25 million users at an application built by US Bank and many other customer-facing applications. And we can only scale to that number of users if we can support the wide variety of use cases that a lot of different people have. We're going to take a look at 3 in the demonstration. Brendan manages a warehouse. He needs to optimize the flow of materials through that warehouse. And we'll take a look at Paige, who works in marketing. She's using all of the data that we have about our customers and their preferences to tailor and target specific promotions to them. And then we'll take a look at Allison, who works in the business and is using self-service data prep and visualization tools to mine the business's data for insight. And we can only support more use cases if we're built on a foundation of scaling to more data, analytical sources, transactional, streaming, and IoT sources. We can master it, cleanse it, validate it, harmonize those multiple complex sources of data, and deliver trust to your applications. And that's where our story begins. I'm going to sign in as Brendan. Remember, Brendan manages a warehouse. He needs to optimize the flow of materials through that warehouse. Brendan is going to use our portal to do that. Our portal is a content management system. It manages the security of people, content, and data, and delivers the most appropriate experience based on who you are and what your use case is. And it really highlights the support for scaling to more data, because the data does not need to be single sourced here. It can be a mashup. In this case, it is streaming point of sale data, streaming IoT data, data coming from the cloud and relational sources, all delivered in a single view. I can see that we're predicting a product shortage of antihistamine medication. I've got some delays across my supply chain. We have a product recall, an item was misplaced. And over here, this highlights our support for IoT. So we have refrigeration units in the warehouse. They have sensors on them. We're using that data, streaming it in, managing it with Kafka, and scoring it in real time for probability of failure. And anything that turns pink has exceeded the acceptable threshold. We want to schedule that proactively for maintenance. Let's take a look at a detailed view of one of these refrigerators. So this specific refrigerator, we've got key information on it, where it is, the contents. We also see the detailed view of the 9 sensors and metrics that comprise the overall probability failure score. We see a spark line for a specific trend, and through data-driven imagery, we can see exactly where it is, and we are describing the output of the model. I can see that this one needs maintenance because the internal fan is off, in addition to some other metrics that are above desired threshold. We are prescribing an action, replace the part, and check these other settings, and automatically triggering and managing actions like Slack alerts, which is an important component to an IoT strategy. So now that I've taken a quick look at what's happening in the business with the dashboard, I want to solve these problems. But dashboards aren't great at solving problems. Apps are great at solving problems and accomplishing use cases. And we build apps that do this, that are purpose-built to solve specific use cases, like to optimize the flow of materials through a warehouse, which is what this one does. And these apps are simplicity masking complexity. They'll leverage the experience of your favorite consumer apps like Uber or Expedia, which feature things like progressive disclosure. Focus your attention on some key selections or questions up front that don't overwhelm you and really that people can use with no training. I could look into a specific product right off the bat. I could look at real-time or historical views. Let's look at real-time. I could look into a specific location like the New York warehouse and see a number of different views, like 360 degree, focus on deliveries, or get a visual map of the warehouse. And I'll choose that. And then it is this transition and workflow that's very familiar to people. It will deliver the most appropriate Result, it could be a results page via a report, a map, a dashboard, or this custom visualization, which is a visual map of the warehouse built by our customer Lipari Foods. It will let me manage big picture considerations of the warehouse and look into specific things that are happening. So this is showing me where the heaviest items in the warehouse are. And we want those closest to where the forklifts enter, which is over here, to reduce the risk of damage. And many have been placed here. But I can find items that have traveled too far and have even been placed on top of other items, putting them at risk for damage. I would want to prevent that. I may want to move it immediately. I could look into things like which products are moving most frequently by looking at average movement per week. These items, you want to deliver them to premium locations closest to where the trucks will pick it up, over here. Many of them are, but many of them are down here. There may not have been space at the time. And so I can see, is there available space by applying that filter? And I can relocate it immediately because there is available space. I can also look into specific things that are happening based on what I learned on my dashboard. Like if we are predicting a shortage of allergy medication, I could look into categories of multiple SKUs, see where they are, identify which ones contain the greatest value, and move those first. What you're going to find from our apps is they will look and feel and behave differently because they truly are purpose-built to solve specific use cases. So now that I've seen how Brendan can optimize the flow of materials through the warehouse using a portal and an app, let me show you how Paige can use our platform to accomplish an entirely different set of use cases. Paige works in marketing, and she needs to use all of the data that we have about our customers to tailor promotions to them at the individual or microsegment level. Paige will also use our portal because the portal manages the differences between people and their use cases, the data that they can access, the experience that they get. And Paige gets a different experience than Brendan, who's more operational. Paige needs things like visual, interactive content to communicate promotions to customers or maybe motivate store managers. And she needs a collaborative experience. She gets a landing page which will deliver a scroll of news, events, announcements, and information, deliver recommended actions to her, and we can only scale to more users if we can facilitate a collaborative experience amongst those users. I see alerts and discussions down here. So as I look at the recommended actions, our solutions in data science are data science for everyone. We manage end-to-end the whole process, from data acquisition to model creation to embedding the results into the workflow of non-technical people that can benefit from it. You know, police officers that see a map on a tablet in their car and are told where to police based on where we're predicting crime will occur, or Paige being recommended specific actions like expanding a specific promotion to a specific segment in a specific location based on a lot of historical data and analysis and predictive analytics. So let's look into that. A very useful tool for someone like Paige, or really anyone, is going to be GIS, geospatial analytics, because it adds the context of location, like location of your stores, to data that you have about your stores and customers, combined with data that can be enriched and accessed through the partnership with ESRI. So if we're going to roll out a new meal kit promotion in our grocery stores to compete with other stores and compete with delivery meal kit providers, I would want information on the makeup of our customers and the surrounding area. And through the partnership with ESRI, we can access demographic data layers like tapestry segmentation. I'm going to turn this on. And this is incredibly detailed and useful. It highlights the surrounding area. What are the most popular tapestries, like ethnic enclaves? I can see around the Irvine store, it's affluent estates and upscale avenues. I can use this information to make better decisions about who to target to, maybe which stores to offer which promotions in. And geospatial analytics will leverage things like multiple map layers so that you can turn on layers like where do our competitors exist and who are they? And I can use visualization techniques to understand where are the majority of my competitors. Looks like they're surrounding the Irvine store, Huntington Beach, and Tustin. And I can use things like heat layers to confirm that as well. And we have access to a lot of detailed data through the partnership with ESRI for geo-enrichment. If we're going to roll out something like a new meal kit offering, we want to get people into the store, it'd be useful to know who's spending a lot on groceries. So this layer is who is spending more than $150 a week on groceries by zip code. But wouldn't it be more valuable if we all also had the intelligence of things like drive time analysis? So not only where do they live, can they get to our store? This is household spending via a 10-minute drive time. And it gets even more detailed. Things like, are we rolling out high protein meals? We have data layers on dietary preferences, like people that prefer high protein meals that live within a 10-minute drive time analysis. So I'm going to use all of this information to target a specific store like Irvine, where we think people can get there. There's a lot of competition. I want to identify who are our customers that live close to this store. I'm going to use selection tools to do this, to see who lives within 5 miles of our Irvine store. I can see who they are, their rewards number, and their demographic information, and I can use this to tailor specific promotions to them. What's a great way to communicate a promotion to a variety of customers with different locations and preferences and demographics? We have a very unique offering of customized and data-driven infographics that's perfect for this. So we can design a personalized infographic that combines things like images and narration and visualization with personalized information like Paige's reward status, the meal that based on all the data that we have, we think will motivate her to come into the store, with a map of where the ingredients are sourced from and high-level KPIs to motivate her to enroll. It will save you money. It's easy. It's good for the environment. The key here is that we help you design these infographics, but that they are burst and distributed based on the data and the profile that we have about you, or thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of customers, and everyone can get a unique personalized one, because what will motivate Paige to get into the store in Irvine, California is totally different from what will motivate John in New York City to get into the store. And it is our ability to distribute via an image or an email address or embedded into the website or onto your phone or tablet that is a big differentiator. And along those lines, how do we motivate the people on the ground, the people in the stores, to execute these campaigns? How do we inform them? So we have another patented technology that's very useful for this. It's called in-document analytics. It delivers graphical views of data in an HTML5 document that's optimized for use on phones and tablets. So you could burst and distribute a dashboard of active promotions to each store manager. They get it on their tablet. The key here is that it works disconnected. You can have no connection back to the system or the database, and it remains interactive. So as I look at active promotions, a great way to motivate people is show them how they're performing compared to people like them. So the key promotions and the key products, and I can still interact with this even though it's disconnected. So I can do things like change chart views, and I can even zero in on specific data points, like where we performed worse than our stores like us. Those selections are broadcast everywhere. We could deliver different views like high-level store information and rankings, what people are saying about us on social channels, maybe colored by something like sentiment. I can zero in on what are just the negative comments being made about me. We can show things like forecasts of items and always give you access to the source data that you can still interact with it. You can sort it, you can filter it, you can visualize it. So those are two unique visual interactive experiences and documents that we can dynamically burst and distribute for a wide variety of use cases. So now that I've shown how Paige can use our portal and things like a more collaborative experience, an interactive experience with visual interactive content that can be distributed to accomplish her use case of targeting customers for promotions. Let me show you a totally different use case, which is Allison, right down here, that shared a data story. Allison works in the business. She's using self-service tools to mine the business's data for insight to deliver a competitive advantage back to the business. Allison is going to use a different type of experience, one that's best for her needs, which is our homepage, which gives Allison access to all her most recent projects. We're recommending content that might be useful for her, helping her learn the product, giving her access to data and content creation tools, and integrated search. We've indexed all data sources, dimensions, measures, content, and data values to help her search for whatever she needs. Existing content like dashboards, reports, or charts, or data, or subjects like categories, or individual values so she can find what she needs. She can work with data seamlessly. Our strengths in data access and integration allow her to access to any source of data or upload and prep data. Let's upload an Excel spreadsheet of retail data right now. As we upload it, we're analyzing it. We're showing you the data. As we load it, we give you great options. We can automatically analyze it for you, find relevant patterns, trends, clusters, outliers in your data, and visualize them for you with automatically generated narrative. Or we can just design or prep the data. As we prep the data, it's visual and interactive. As we prepare it for analytical purposes, we can profile it, access the analysis algorithms, look at things like feature importance, and we can visually build a data flow to support data science projects or for downstream visualization and discovery. And we combine the visual data flow assembly with access to our curated catalog of governed data that is IT blessed, that is clean, that's organized, and is secure to deliver the best possible data flows for analytical assets, and integrating with and collaborating with data science teams who can publish things like predictions or data sets, or we can just leverage the most common predictive capabilities around trending and correlation and clustering or classification. And the web-focused designer, which supports this experience, is totally integrated. Your one-stop shop for any data preparation or content creation experience. And it's intelligent. It's built with the ease of use demanded by business users, but the functional depth demanded by developers to build enterprise-class applications. We make it easy to do things like embed it. Of course, we can drag and drop content to create content, but we can also ask our questions, and we're going to help you ask those questions. So we're going to suggest and autocomplete questions you can answer because we've indexed metadata and data values. So if I type top revenue by category, it delivers the answer in the most visually appropriate format. And we can create ensembles of content with multiple data sources or multiple chart or report views. As I create a second chart, let's ask another question of our data, which is the revenue by month and category. The most visually appropriate answer to this is a stacked line chart, but we can change it. We can interact with it. It's fast, it's interactive, it's broadcasting your selections everywhere you go and tracking your selections everywhere you go by generating things like filter controls. So this has been Porter Thorndike with a platform overview. Remember that we scale in 3 ways that are unique to more users, supporting more use cases, built on a foundation of more data.